I firmly believe that from 2015 to 2016, Chris Hero was the best wrestler in the world. A true hybrid wrestler in the 2000s, Hero trained with Les Thatcher, Dory Funk Jr., Johnny Saint, Skyder, Tracy Smothers and William Regal to name a few. He was 6'4" and well over 200 pounds, performing dives and springboards with ease, grinding down his opponents with elite World of Sport style grappling and Mexican llave submissions, and demonstrating powerful strikes and throws reminiscent of the King's Row style of All Japan in the 1990s. The Chris Hero that fans saw in the 2000s and early 2010s could do it all, and he could do it all unbelievably well. I could spend hours talking about the career of Chris Hero, his series of epics with CM Punk in IWA Mid-South, the key role he played in the war between CZW and Ring of Honor, the formation and dominance of the Kings of Wrestling, the intense blood feud between himself and Eddie Kingston, and who knows, maybe someday I'll make a video or two chronicling some of these stories. When Chris Hero returned to the independents after almost 2 years signed to the WWE, there was a distinctive change in the wrestling style of Hero. He'd always been a dominant wrestler, but his style was much more bruising than before, less performative and more destructive. He'd put on some mass, which made his strikes all the more devastating, and his moveset had evolved. Almost every move in his arsenal targeted the head and neck of his opponent, softening them up for one of his many devastating finishes. This version of Hero was the true knockout artist, a wrestler who had perfected their moveset to do exactly two things: break necks and split skulls. After wearing down his opponent, Hero would use one of his many elbow variations, the Cyclone Kill, the Powerbomb, or one of his sickening pile drivers. Any one of these could end the match. Chris Hero wrestled 16 matches in the UK in 2016. I'm going to talk about 7 of them. 7 very different, very awesome matches that I believe demonstrate just how great Chris Hero was, and that I hope will convince you that at this time in professional wrestling, Chris Hero was untouchable. We begin in May 2016 with Progress Wrestling's second annual Super Strong Style 16 tournament, the tournament that grants the winner a shot at the Progress Championship, currently held at this time by Marty Scurll. Chris Hero is paired off with former Progress champion Mark Andrews in the first round, in a first time ever encounter that will be repeated in PWG's Battle of Los Angeles tournament a few months later. Even before the opening bell, Hero is establishing his role in this match, responding to the crowd's chant of both these guys with no, just one guy. After spitting in his hand and accepting Andrews' handshake, Hero immediately goes to work, grabbing a waistlock and dumping the much smaller Andrews face first on the canvas. Within seconds of the bell, Hero has shown both Mark Andrews and the fans that in this match, he's going to be a bully. Both men show off some of their athleticism to counter each other's wrist locks, and the moment Andrews finally gets the better of Hero with an arm drag, Hero instantly drops him with an elbow. Hero proves here that he's a bad matchup for Andrews, much larger, more powerful and more experienced, and while Andrews has the edge in speed and athleticism, Hero is quick enough to counter many of Andrews' attempts to get on the offensive. Andrews is able to get in some offense in this match, including a tope into a Hurricane Rana, followed by a diving Rana from the top rope and a standing shooting star press, but Hero shuts it down quickly with a Mafia kick followed by a nasty Cyclone Kill. Andrews puts up a valiant fight throughout the contest, attacking Hero with forearms and chops, but Hero's striking is just on another level of power and destruction. The big theme of this David vs Goliath contest is that in order to topple Hero, Andrews cannot make mistakes, as when he does, Hero makes him pay dearly. Andrews' attempt at a slingshot wheelbarrow is slightly off due to Hero's size, and Hero responds by dropping him on his head and landing all his weight on him with a senton. 2 versions of the crash landing aren't enough to put Andrews away, and Hero is becoming genuinely surprised and frustrated at the resiliency of White Lightning. Hero calls for the pile driver, and Andrews attempts to reverse into a Hurricane Rana, but gets caught and drilled with a disgusting arms captured variation, but it's still not enough. Both Hero and the crowd in the electric ballroom are stunned by the tenacity of Andrews. Andrews is able to reverse a ripcord elbow and gets a backslide for 2, before trying for a suplex. Hero fights out with elbows but misses a rolling elbow, allowing Andrews to finally hit the German suplex and dump Hero on the top of his head. The pair trade running strikes in the corners before a moonsault DT leaves Hero open for Andrews' shooting star press. The damage done to Andrews is too much, however, and he takes too long, as Hero catches him with the cravat and dumps Andrews on his head yet again. A brutal rolling elbow looks to have it sewn up for Hero, but Andrews kicks out one more time as the fans in attendance erupt. Hero picks up Andrews and drills him with a tombstone piledriver to get the win and advance to the quarterfinals of the tournament. Hero and Andrews put on a clinic here, and both men come out of it looking strong. Hero as an absolute titan, able to control and wear down Andrews, and Andrews as a truly defiant underdog, able to withstand so much from Hero and continue fighting from underneath. This match for me is a testament to Hero's ability as a veteran, to go out there with an opponent he's never wrestled before and put on an absolutely brilliant match with a clear, consistent story that had the fans hooked from the beginning to the end. Mark Andrews had always been a beloved underdog in progress, and the danger of putting him against Hero in the Super Strong Style 16 tournament first round is that Hero will be cheered over the homegrown underdog babyface in Mark Andrews. The tightrope walk that Hero does in this match as both an international import babyface and a bullying heel is magnificent, and elevates himself, Andrews, the match and the promotion all in one go. With this win, Hero advances to the quarterfinals of the tournament and is set for a very different match stylistically, against a man Hero has some history with in mainland Europe, and who would in a few short years become one of the most dominant wrestlers in the entire world. Hero and Walter had met twice before this contest, both times in WXW. In 2010, Big Van Walter defeated Chris Hero to win the 16-carat gold tournament, and in 2014 Walter defeated Hero to retain the WXW Unified World Championship. The match begins with some nice chain wrestling, and Hero attempting to shoulder tackle Walter to no avail, which provides a nice contrast to his match the day before, when it was Andrews' shoulder tackles who had no effect on the larger opponent. Hero manages to bait Walter and catch him with a nasty boot, before an impressive display of agility allows Hero to land on his feet on the outside, and land another of his trademark elbows. It is on the outside that Walter's soon-to-be infamous chops are unleashed, the first of which almost folds Hero. Walter follows it up with two more before another sick elbow drops the Austrian. Once they make it back into the ring, Walter takes full control, with lots more brutal offense that grounds Hero. He manages to escape Walter's sleeper hold and chains up some of his signature offense, but isn't enough to get the victory. Chris Hero's idolisation of Mitsuharu Misawa is well known, and his use of Misawa's signature offense is perfectly matched here by Big Daddy Walter, who has often cited Kenta Kobashi as one of his inspirations. But beyond just the signature moves of two of the four pillars being employed here, the emphasis on fighting spirit and the escalation of the moves being used makes this match an excellent tribute to the King's Road style of All Japan Pro Wrestling in the 1990s, with two titans struggling violently against each other, pulling out bigger and badder moves from their arsenals to try and put the other man down for the count. After kicking out of a powerbomb and climbing the ropes to escape Walter's sleeper hold once more, Hero manages to intercept Walter's lariat with an elbow and lands two more before Walter responds with a big boot and a disgusting lariat. The crowd erupts as Hero kicks out at one in a display of fighting spirit, and lands two more elbows before Walter can chain together a lariat, German suplex and lariat again. But Hero kicks out at two this time. After escaping another attempt at the sleeper from Walter, Hero drops him with the ripcord rolling elbow, another elbow to the back of the head, and removes the elbow pad for another rolling elbow to the back of the head of a kneeling Walter, but it's just not enough. Walter blocks Hero's attempt at the pile driver, but can't stop him getting the Gotch style grip and spiking him into the canvas for the 3 count. Another excellent performance from Hero. I don't think this match gets brought up as much as it probably should, so while the previous day's match with Mark Andrews has been rightly praised, this match is very nearly as good and is entirely different stylistically, which I think is the key to what made Hero so special around this time. His ability to go anywhere in the world and tell captivating stories no matter the opponent, the style, or the proclivities of the audience. Hero fighting from underneath against Walter is a brilliant role reversal from the previous night's match against Mark Andrews. And in this match he turns Walter, a man who was well established in WXW, but had only won his first match in Progress the day before, into a behemoth that Hero has to fight from underneath. Hero would only have to wait half an hour before his next match in the tournament, and would find himself facing one of his proteges and recent tag partners, one of the favourites going into the tournament. Heroes eventually collide in the semi-finals of the Super Strong Style 16 tournament. While they had only begun to team together a few months earlier in Evolve as part of a tournament to crown the inaugural Evolve Tag Team Champions, the two had plenty of history together. Hiro spent a lot of time in his early career in Europe, both wrestling and attending training camps as both a trainee and a guest trainer. It was in these camps he first met Tommy End, who he helped mentor early in End's career. Hiro and End would often wrestle on the same shows whenever Hiro toured Europe with WXW, but with Hiro being a bigger name at the time, they would not cross paths in the ring. In Hiro's absence after signing with WWE in 2011, End would begin to move up the card in independent wrestling as a whole, and WXW specifically. In 2013, End won the prestigious 16-carat gold tournament, the tournament Hiro had won back in 2007, and shortly after won the WXW Unified World Wrestling Championship, a title he would hold for 421 days. During End's reign, after leaving WWE at the end of 2013, Hiro would return to WXW and go on to win the 2014 16-carat gold tournament, granting him a shot at End's title in a match that Hiro would lose to his protege. The two would meet in two singles matches in 2015 in Southside Wrestling Entertainment and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and would walk away with one win apiece. After having joined the commentary desk for the previous semi-final match between Zach Gibson and Mark Andrews, who had won a second chance scramble match earlier in the show to replace an injured Mark Haskins, Progress champion Marty Scurll would remain on commentary for this match. End and Hiro would make their entrances, each wearing a variation of their Heroes Eventually Die merch. The crowd is split almost down the middle at the beginning of this match, as End's tenure as part of the Sumerian Death Squad had very much endeared him to the Progress fans, and since they had been forced to disband earlier this year, End had quickly risen to being one of the most beloved stars in the company, and many people's pick to dethrone Marty Scurll for the title. Hiro was well known to the Progress fans before he debuted the previous night, and his two excellent matches in the tournament so far had confirmed how great he was. After a show of respect and a handshake between the two partners, the two begin trading strikes in a brutal test of resilience, before Hiro finally drops End with a bicycle kick and invites him to continue on the outside. The chops and body kicks are now levelled up to elbows and boots to the face, with both men refusing to back down. End seems to get the better of the exchange with the rising knee and follows Hiro up to the stage, but is dropped by an elbow. The referee is being extremely lenient here to ensure that we have a winner going into the final, and Marty Scurll is absolutely insufferable on commentary, disparaging both men. After a series of brutal strikes from both men, Hiro finally takes control after a cyclone kill. These opening exchanges boil down to the power of Hiro's forearms and boots against the pinpoint accuracy and technique of End's Dutch Muay Thai. Hiro and End finally make their way towards the ring, and some nasty chops send End into the front row. The fans at ringside are barely able to escape before Hiro crushes End with a running senton into the chairs. The action finally returns to the ring. Hiro is in control, but End's exceptional counter-wrestling ability is on full display here as he manages some impressive flurries of offense. End is able to shrug off a boot to the back of the head, briefly stunning Hiro before he lands a straight right, but End is able to reverse Hiro's crash landing into a brainbuster. Hiro is able to avoid the Owari Death Stomp, but neither a snap piledriver or the Death Blow are enough to put End away. As the crowd begins to grow louder, Hiro and End go back to throwing their vicious strikes. Hiro with the initial advantage, but End with incredible toughness eventually wins the exchange with a flying bicycle knee, followed by the Owari Death Stomp and the spinning back heel kick, the move that had knocked out Progress champion Marty Scurll the previous month. But it is still not enough to beat Hiro. End goes back up for the stomp again, but Hiro follows him up there. Hiro looks for the piledriver, but End fights hard to block it, similarly to the way Walter did in Hiro's quarter-final match. Hiro switches his strategy, and once again manages to get the gotch grip and drills End with the gotch-style piledriver from the second rope. Hiro desperately crawls to make the cover, but he cannot get there quick enough, and the crowd erupts when Tommy kicks out at 2. Hiro gets a second wind and hooks End to the ripcord elbow, but End manages to catch a victory roll for the 3 count as the crowd explodes. Both men receive a standing ovation and are extremely emotional, Tommy End especially, and the two embrace. Another excellent match to cap off Hiro's run in the Super Strong Style 16 tournament. I really like the simplicity of the story of this match. Two guys who know each other extremely well and choose to just hit each other over and over again as hard as they can until someone just can't keep going. And with the quick roll-up finish showing that End isn't the same kid Hiro was mentoring a decade earlier, but had grown into an experienced and capable veteran who can snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, and you can tell that Hiro could not be prouder. Tommy End would go on to defeat Mark Andrews in the finals to win the Super Strong Style 16, granting him a shot at the Progress Championship. This is not the end for Hiro in Progress this year, however. As Hiro was making his way backstage for a standing ovation of fans, there was one individual who was making his distaste for Hiro well known, Progress champion Marty Scurll. Scurll had been insulting Hero and End on commentary throughout the match, and was continuing to do so with Hero on the stage. Hero began to confront Marty, who quickly escaped before it could get physical. A week after Super Strong Style 16, Hero would cut a promo announcing that he would be returning to Progress for the next show, and said that he had listened back to Marty on commentary, and that if Marty didn't believe the hype about Chris Hero, he wouldn't mind seeing it up close for the Progress title. And with that, it was official. Hero vs Villain for the Progress Championship at Chapter 31. Scurll and Hero, much like End and Hero, went back many years, to the holiday camp shows up and down the UK that Hero had taken part in, and that a 16-year-old Marty Scurll had spent his summer holidays wrestling on. Scurll had spent much of his career on the British independent circuit as a babyface, both as a singles wrestler and as one half of the leaders of the New School tag team with Zack Sabre Jr. Scurll was a Progress original, competing in the tournament to crown the inaugural Progress champion, but ultimately falling short to Nathan Cruz in the final. He had had 3 shots at the Progress title since then, but was unsuccessful. After a loss in the semi-finals of the 2015 Super Strong Style 16 tournament, and a loss to Chris Travis in his last match before his tragic and untimely passing, Scurll snapped and brutalised Travis. He would cement his new demented villain persona at the next 3 Progress shows, with wins over Morgan Webster, Tommaso Ciampa and Rampage Brown, before brutalising Progress champion Will Ospreay in a no disqualification match to win the title for the first time. While Hero and Scurll had wrestled each other before, most recently when both men participated in WXW's Shortcut to the Top match, the two had not faced off in a singles match since Scurll had become the villain. This match marks the first time in his Progress run where Hero is the out-and-out babyface wrestling an out-and-out heel, a true Hero vs villain matchup, and the fans are fully behind Chris Hero and are extremely hyped for this. Hero offers the handshake and Scurll kicks it away, having absolutely no respect for Hero. Scurll is able to take the advantage early with some impressive mat wrestling, but Hero is no stranger to the world of sports style and is able to escape. It doesn't take long for Scurll to find a chink in the armour of Hero when he manages to hit a nasty arm wringer on his left arm. Scurll follows it up with a stomp to the bent arm, and suddenly Hero is at a distinct disadvantage. While the left arm is not the one that Hero uses for most of his devastating strikes, so he is still able to throw his vicious elbows, having a limb that is already an issue for him minutes into the title match is going to wear down Hero over time, while giving Scurll the opportunity to quickly reverse the momentum of the match if it goes too far into Hero's favour by attacking that arm again. Scurll's cross-face chicken wing finisher involves locking the left arm of his opponent behind their back, and having that weakness already established provides tremendous benefit and leverage. If Scurll were to spend the entire match targeting the arm, it would likely be an easy win for the villain. However, this is not what Scurll does. His arrogance leads him to try to outstrike Hero, to try and beat him at his own game, rather than taking the smarter and easier route to victory. This of course backfires as Hero, even with one weaker arm, is much stronger and more adept at striking than Scurll is. Scurll has shown over the last few months just how capable of a singles wrestler he is, but his insecurity regarding Hero and how he still sees him as someone to aspire to and fight upwards, despite Scurll being the Progress champion and one of the top names in the UK independent scene at this point, is his kryptonite in this match. Hero, on the other hand, is all business here, not straying from his usual strategy of concentrating his attacks on the head and neck of Scurll to soften him up for one of his many powerful finishers. When he does try to show off his athleticism though, like with his Masawa-esque roll over the ropes, it backfires, and Scurll is able to get the advantage by once again targeting the weakened left arm. His viciousness is really on display here, since as much as he tried to downplay Hero during his match with Tommy End, he knows the calibre of wrestler that Hero is, and that at this point in Scurll's reign, Hero is by far the biggest and most experienced opponent he's had to face. When Scurll tries to outchop Hero yet again, Hero fights back, but Scurll goes right back to the left arm. Scurll's ego works against him here, so when he tries the chops yet again, Hero gets an opening to hit a bicycle knee, a clothesline and get back into the match. A series of big strikes drops Scurll, but only for 2. After Marty avoids 2 attempts at the pile driver and Hero escapes the chicken wing, he climbs to the top rope, something he had done increasingly rarely during this time in his career. It backfires when Scurll manages to cut him off with an enziguri, followed by a Tower of London, bicycle knee and super kick in a Hero-esque combination of attacks to the head, but it's still not enough. After an impressive show of strength from Marty, a facebuster variation of Claudio Castagnoli's Alpamare water slide, he returns to attacking the arm and is able to successfully snap the fingers of Hiro. He is able to respond with 2 consecutive rolling elbows, but his weakened arm prevents him from being able to get an effective pin on Scurll, who kicks out. A filthy piledriver from Hiro is still not enough to get the win, with Marty showing incredible resilience that really lends credibility to his reign as champion. Hiro continues to pressure Scurll with his strikes before the two get into an incredible back and forth of big attacks that leave both men exhausted, reminiscent of Hiro's last match against Tommy End. Hiro goes for the moonsault but takes too long, allowing Scurll to evade and lock in the chicken wing. Hiro manages to get to the ropes but is weak, and Scurll manages to hit Hiro's own Gotch piledriver. Hiro refuses to be beaten with his own move and kicks out at 1. Scurll snaps both sets of Hiro's fingers and locks in the chicken wing one more time, and this time Hiro goes out. An absolutely epic contest to cap off Hiro's 2016 run in progress, with Marty Scurll and Chris Hero coming out of the match looking like stars. Hero puts over both Scurll and Progress in his post-match promo and promises to return in the future. It would take a couple of years, but Hero would eventually return for the Super Strong Style 16 tournament in 2018. Two months after their first clash in Manchester for Progress, the two would meet again, this time in London for Revolution Pro. Scurll was a former British heavyweight champion, holding the top prize in RevPro for a record-setting 456 days, but had lost the championship the previous year to AJ Styles. Scurll had defeated Will Ospreay in the beginning of 2016 to become the #1 contender for the title, so a win for Hero here would immediately shoot him into title contention. Just like in their previous encounter, Hero begins by offering a handshake, and Scurll again responds by kicking it away. Much like in their match in Progress, Hero gets the upper hand early, utilising both his power advantage and his technical skill to get the better of Scurll. Hero also begins targeting Scurll with his strikes much more quickly in this match, hitting his powerful elbows much earlier in an attempt to get Scurll on the back foot in the contest as soon as possible. Scurll, on the other hand, follows a similar strategy to the previous match, targeting the left arm of Hero with an arm wringer to try and soften him up for the crossface chicken wing. A boot from Hero leaves Scurll vulnerable for a dive, but Scurll avoids it, and Hero's incredible athleticism enables him to almost land on his feet on the floor, but a slight stumble leaves him open to Scurll's superkick. Scurll viciously targets the arm on the outside and continues this inside the ring, not straying from the strategy that got him the win in Manchester. But much like the previous match, Scurll hasn't learned to not try and outstrike Hero. A nasty slap rocks Hero, but Bicycle knee out of nowhere stuns Scurll. A bicycle knee and crash landing puts Scurll down, but Hero takes too long for the Kobashi style moonsault, and Scurll is able to evade and put Hero down with a combo of his own, ending with the graduation, but it's not enough. Scurll manages to connect with 2 lariats before Hero blocks the third with his elbow, then drops Scurll with a disgusting rolling elbow. Hero begins firing off elbows until Scurll evades with La Magistral, transitioning into the crossface chicken wing, though Hero manages to escape and hit the ripcord elbow. Scurll kicks out at 1 to a standing ovation from the crowd, and the two trade massive strikes before Hero drills Scurll with a filthy piledriver for an incredibly close 2 count. Scurll manages to snap the finger and hit a snap Gotch piledriver, but Hero kicks out yet again. Scurll heads to the top rope, but Hero follows, looking for the piledriver. Scurll does his best to fight here, but much like Tommy End before him, Hero switches his grip and lands an outrageous Gotch piledriver from the second rope to win the match and avenge his loss from 2 months earlier. This match is nearly 10 minutes shorter than their previous encounter in Progress, and the pace is definitely faster throughout. Both men have the same game plans they did before, but Scurll not targeting the left arm as much, and Hero beginning his bombardment of strikes earlier in the contest, along with Scurll's critical error in going to the top rope, allow Hero to get the win this time, his first victory in Revolution Pro. Personally, I think I prefer the match in Progress. The longer match time and slower pace builds to what I think is a more epic climax and overall match experience. I also think that the way their match in Progress was lit really helps. I'm not sure exactly why, but I think it's to do with the dark space around the action that makes it pop more, compared to the bright artificial lighting of York Hall. This match is still very good, and a testament to the ability of Hero to be able to have 2 matches with the same opponent so close to each other, and have them both feel different, while also having the second match act as a sequel or spin-off from the first. The last 2 matches I wanted to talk about come from Revolution Pro's Global Wars weekend 3 months later. 2 absolute dream matches that truly live up to the hype. The first seeing Hiro take on arguably the greatest wrestler in New Japan to never win the top prize. This match marks the first and only meeting between two of the greatest wrestlers of the 21st century. Tomohiro Ishii is as stone-faced as expected as he makes his entrance, and Chris Hero is confident as ever, elbowing fans all around the ring as they chant his name. When Hero enters the ring, the Stone Pitbull stares him down the entire time. Two clear heavyweights here, with the taller Hero against the stockier Ishii. When the two come together for the first time chest to chest, the visual seems to suggest that this contest will very much be a David vs Goliath style matchup. The first few exchanges of the match seem to confirm this. Hero mocks the height of Ishii, who fires with a flurry of forearms before Hero knocks down Ishii with a single elbow. Ishii gets back up and continues to strike at Hero, but the side advantage of Hero allows him to get the better of a shoulder block exchange. When Ishii begins to get the better of Hero with repeated chops and forearms in the corner, Hero shuts it down by pitching Ishii to the outside and following up with a thunderous elbow. Ishii gets the advantage on the walkway with his chops, but a bicycle kick from Hero drops him. Hero shows off his agility in the ring while Ishii crawls his way, an act that might ordinarily thrust Hero squarely into the role of the villain of the match. However, the fans are too excited about having two world-class wrestlers duking it out and are still pretty evenly split, if not slightly biased in favour of Hero. Hero makes his first significant error in the match when Ishii is beginning to get a second wind after being consistently beaten down for the first portion. Hero tries to shut him down with strikes to the top of the head and temple of Ishii, whose incredibly strong skull ends up doing more damage to Hero. Ishii begins to fight back with some deafening chops and an impressive delayed vertical suplex on the much larger Hero. Hero tries to fight out of Ishii's backdrop suplex but gets dropped nonetheless. Some more awesome striking exchanges occur before Hero drills Ishii with a snap pile driver, but the Stone Pitbull's fighting spirit is strong and he gets up straight away, to the shock and awe of both the fans and Hero, who gets floored by a headbutt soon after. Hero and Ishii are absolutely magical in the ring together. The striking exchanges and combinations you see throughout the match are just exquisite, and the fact this is their first match against each other is a testament to each guy's ability to develop incredible chemistry with their opponents in no time at all. The whole match is incredibly back and forth, each man getting the better of the other at various times with various impactful strikes, and you get the sense that this match really could go either way at all times. Hero hits a second pile driver and once again Ishii begins to rise, but Hero learns from his previous mistake of allowing Ishii too much time to fire up and drills him with another elbow before hitting the gotch pile driver to get the 3 count and defeat Ishii in an unbelievable contest. The fighting spirit of Ishii allowed him to fight through offense that would have beaten many, but in the end it was all too much. The Stone Pitbull fought from underneath, and each time he began to turn the tide, a single strike or combination from Hero was all it took to get back in control. The arrogance of Hero almost cost him the contest, but learning from his mistake and rushing Ishii at the right moment allowed him to put him away. Another excellent performance from Hero, in a match that was similar to his contest with Walter in Super Strong Style 16, albeit with Ishii in the role of the underdog this time as opposed to Hero. The final match of Hero's British Odyssey that I'd like to talk about is another dream match, against one of the most beloved and respected wrestlers of the 21st century, the last true successor to Antonio Inoki, in a match which, after the previous night's events, will now be for the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. After Hero defeated Ishii at Global Wars Night 1, the main event saw Zack Sabre Jr. defending the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship against Katsuyori Shibata, in a match that began as a technical masterclass but by the end was a complete slugfest, with neither man backing down from the other's strikes. In the end, it was Shibata who came away with the victory, after wearing down Sabre with the sleeper hold and finishing him off with the penalty kick, becoming the first Japanese man to hold the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. Winning that match meant that the main event of Night 2 between Shibata and Hero, which had already been announced, would now be for the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. After Zack had left and the fans applauded Shibata for his performance, Hero made his way ringside to stare down Shibata, before blowing a kiss and departing. This match would be Hero's last in the UK in 2016, and an opportunity to capture a major title in the UK to cap off his unbelievable run on the independents that year, all over the world but in the UK in particular. The fans in attendance are loud for both challenger and champion as they make their entrances. During the introductions, announcer Andy Quilder makes a point of noting that Hero has won championships everywhere he's been, except the United Kingdom. This is not strictly true of course, but the amount of time that Hiro has spent in the UK without winning a major championship is not insignificant, and provides an interesting wrinkle to this first time meeting between Shibata and Hiro. In its opening moments, this match somehow feels like both a clash of styles and a meeting of two wrestlers who complement each other perfectly. Both men being world class in the realms of striking and grappling, but both having truly distinct styles within each. It's Shibata who takes control in the beginning of the match with his grappling, dragging Hiro down to the mat and nullifying Hiro's height advantage. Shibata immediately goes to work on Hiro's left arm, much like Marty Scurll did in their two clashes in the summer. When Hiro eventually makes it to the ropes to force a break, Hiro begins to fire off big chops to swing the momentum in his favour. A bicycle kick in the corner forces Shibata to the outside, where both men continue to throw strikes around ringside. The noise that Hiro's elbows and chops make, not just in this match but every time he wrestles, cannot be understated. They are gunshots. I'm not ashamed to admit that when I first became aware of wrestling outside of WWE, aged 12 or 13, I was both enthralled and honestly quite terrified by Chris Hero's elbow strikes. As although I knew by this point that wrestling was a cooperative performance, I had never heard strikes in wrestling make a noise like that before, and I really believed, at least for a while, that Hiro was really starching his opponents, which I now see as a testament to Hiro's perfect technique and timing. You know how sometimes a magic trick is more impressive when you see the skill required to actually pull it off? That's how I feel about Chris Hero's elbows. Hiro continues rocking Shibata inside the ring, shouting "Why won't you stay down?" before delivering another vicious elbow in the corner. Shibata begins walking through Hiro's chops, before bringing the pain to Hiro in the corner and following up with his trademark dropkick. The pair begin escalating the offense until Hiro manages to catch Shibata with a knee to the midsection and follows it up with a snap pile driver. He's slow to make the pinfall, giving Shibata time to regroup and reverse Hiro's pin into a sleeper hold. Hiro manages to power out of it and transition into a backdrop, but Shibata goes straight back to the sleeper, before landing an impressive German suplex. Hiro hits another elbow and the gotch pile driver, but it's not enough. The crowd is almost evenly split between Shibata and Hiro. Shibata intercepts Hiro's ripcord elbow with a nasty slap, and goes into the sleeper one more time. He drags Hiro to the mat and connects with the penalty kick to win the match and make his first defense of the title, only 24 hours after winning it. This match sees Shibata wrestle with a clear game plan and all his offense is purposeful, trying to soften up Hiro for the sleeper in much the same way Hiro softens up his opponents with one of his finishes. What I believe gives Shibata the edge though is purely psychological. The smaller disparity in size between Shibata and Hiro and Ishii and Hiro, combined with the mat wrestling that Ishii lacks, was able to give Shibata the edge. The fans in attendance give both men a standing ovation for a great main event, and the two share mutual respect. This match would be Hiro's last in the UK as an independent wrestler, and a fitting conclusion to his time in the UK over the years. With that, we've reached the end of Chris Hero's British Odyssey of 2016. These matches are more than just 7 excellent matches featuring one of the all-time greats of independent professional wrestling. In a boom period for independent wrestling, particularly in the UK, Hero is regularly putting on some of the best matches the UK indies had ever seen. These matches are just a small slice of the unbelievable run Hero was on in the mid-2010s, a run that I believe firmly placed him in the top 3 wrestlers in the entire world at the time. Him coming to the UK as a major independent star and putting on consistently excellent matches, one of which is still one of my favourite matches of all time, with a diverse array of opponents, is truly a testament to what makes Hero such a great wrestler, his technical prowess and innate ability to tell compelling stories in the ring. Of the matches I talked about in this video, my top recommendations are Chris Hero vs Mark Andrews from Super Strong Style 16 Night 1, Chris Hero vs Big Daddy Walter from Night 2, and Chris Hero vs Tomohiro Ishii from Global Wars Night 1, although all these matches are worth seeking out and watching for yourself. This Renaissance period is one of the many defining chapters in Hero's extensive, impressive and significant career, and I still believe wholeheartedly that at this time, he was the best wrestler in the world. I hope you enjoyed this episode of WrestleLore. In the next few episodes I'll be talking about one of my favourite feuds in American independent wrestling, a feud that made one of the biggest names to come out of the independents into the man he is today, a trilogy of some of the greatest 6-man tag matches of all time that pitted the rising stars of all Japan in the early 90s against bitter, violent veterans in 3 consecutive years, and about one of the greatest deathmatch wrestlers of all time, and the unbelievable wars she fought in the mid-1990s. Make sure you like and subscribe for more episodes in the future. Thanks for watching, see you later.